and you feel him, and you get in the word, and you're like, oh my God, he's speaking to me.
Hi, nephew.
And you hear worship songs,
Real good.
crying because I feel him. And then all of a sudden, he weans
Good, dog.
you
How's
out
everything
of
going?
sensory spirituality into authentic spirituality. Because if he never weans you off, you become emotional euphoria as opposed to chasing Jesus. Did you hear what I just said? So it says you're going to have to learn how to abide. And that is, there are spiritual practices that you're going to have to put into place to get that connection with me that you didn't used to have to work so hard for when you were in the initial stages of your spiritual journey.
I don't think I'm going to come around, but if I was doing, as long as you're not doing like you, but like as long as like I'm not interlocking my hair, it'll be easy to come out.
To know it's functioning even when you don't feel it.
That's
That prayer is still functioning even when you don't feel it. And praise is still functioning even when you don't feel it. See, an immature praiser has to feel it to praise. Don't y'all start nothing here. But a mature praiser will praise until they feel it. David said, I command my soul to bless the Lord. I walk in the church and say, soul, you don't feel like it, but you're giving him glory today. I know everything's not going the way you want it to go, but we're going to raise our hands today. Because when I think of the goodness of Jesus and all he's done for me, my soul cries hallelujah. We're praising him today. Because it's functioning even when I don't feel it. Here's my question. Are you chasing a feeling of him? I want him. Because the absence of the feeling doesn't mean the absence of God. I'm almost done, y'all, all right? So it talks to me about abiding. Laboring in these practices, these disciplines. They keep you connected with me. And he says the abiding is going to produce not a feeling. He says the abiding is going to produce fruit. I'm in the text. Fruit. And he says abiding produces a fruit that remains. A feeling produces a fruit that won't last in the traffic line. But when I abide, it'll produce a fruit that'll be there when I'm up. And it'll be there when I'm down. It'll be there when the door opens. And it'll be there when the door closes. It'll be there when people walk in my life. And it'll be there when people walk out of my life. It's fruit that remains. But John makes it clear what this fruit is. This fruit, John says that abiding produces is love. I'm in the text. Not love just as a private sentiment, but love that is publicly displayed in the context of your relationship with other humans. I'm in the text. Which is why he says in verse 12, give me verse 12. He says, so you're abiding in me, and your abiding in me should show up in your relationships with others. This is where your fruit needs to show up. Because God's like, I'm easy to get along with. I'm easy to get along with. You need my help. So watch what he says here. He says, my command is this. Here's what I'm commanding you. Love each other as I. Has loved you. Have loved you. Now, he then takes it a step further and clarifies the context that this love should show up in. in terms of the kind of relationship it should show up in. It should show up in a relationship called friendship. Am I in the book? So he goes from love each other as I have loved you, and then he says this, greater love has no one than this, that he will lay down his life for friends. Then he goes on this friend run that you can't ignore. He says, you are my friends if you do what I command. And then he says, I no longer call you servants, because a servant doesn't know his master's business. Instead, I call you friends. And so when we hear friends, we hear casual language. But when they heard it, they heard covenantal language. Because they knew there was only two men in Scripture that God called friend. Abraham was one of those men that God called friend. In Isaiah 41:8, but you, O Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I've chosen, you descendants of Abraham, my friend. And then there's not only Abraham, the second one is Moses. In Exodus 33, verse 11, the Lord will speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. And now, the disciples who were Jewish men, they would have understood this spiritual heritage. And when they heard a friend, they're like, oh my God, you just put me in the same relational category as Moses and Abraham. They took it not casually, but covenantally. They understood something we need to understand as Christians. Friendship is an assignment. Did you hear what I just said? It is an assignment. It is part of your purpose. It is a covenantal relationship that you should enter into prayerfully and prudently, because some people are so busy trying to be friends with everybody that they can't be friends with the somebodies that God has actually called you to. You don't have that much time, and you don't have that much energy, and you don't have that much patience for all these people you call them friends. Say this series, it's an assignment. It's not just a casual designation we throw around. And you got to understand this, because some people will watch this. Some people are going to suffer from agitation. Once they get is this too much? They're going to suffer from agitation. Once they get a revelation, they're not your assignment. See y'all, this. They think you're being snooty, you're being spiritual. You recognize the only thing I'm going to do is disappoint you if I create expectations for you that I cannot meet. Because who you're assigned to, God gives you grace for. Hallelujah. I want somebody to say they got grace for me. They got grace for me. Those that are assigned to me got grace for me. They know I'm grumpy without coffee. They got grace for me. They know how I am when I get stressed. They got grace for me. Because those that are assigned to me have grace for me. It's not casual. It's covenantal. Sealed by promise, coming at a cost, characterized by consistency regardless of changing circumstances.
Just the facial part.
So this is not a designation you should throw around flippantly. And so this is why Wednesday I have to talk to you about something called reclassification. And I'm going to show you how Paul went through an experience with two men named John and Barber. And I'm going to show you a relational reclassification that happens not just with John Mark, but what happens with Barnabas. So in it happened in Acts 15. Most people quote Acts 16, and they emphasize how Paul and Silas was in jail, and certainly, and they at midnight they prayed prayers and sang praises unto God. But we don't. You got to go to chapter 15 to figure out why he ended up with Silas. Because it wasn't supposed to be Silas, it was supposed to be Barnabas. Come on here. But it's a relational reclassification. So here's the point. Here's the point. So if we aren't clear that this isn't just casual, it's covenantal, then we will overextend ourselves and we will try to be to others what you don't have the grace to be. Or you will expect from others what they don't have the character to give you. It ain't in them. No matter how good you are to them, it's not in them. And no matter how much you love them, it's not in them. They can't give you what's not in them. So casually, I can show up however I want. But if I see this covenantally, if I see this as what a family is supposed to be, I'm called to be to you. It's part of my calling. It's to be to you what family's supposed to be. What a brother's supposed to be. What a sister's supposed to be. You understand? So that's part of my calling, and I see it covenantally. What does it look like for me to show up that way? And then, watch this. What is the criteria that I should have in terms of the way others show up for me? That criteria that must be met in order for me to give them the designation. See, this is not about titles. When I say designation, we're not fifth graders. I'm not about to cry because you didn't tell me because you don't want to be my friend. We're not we're not in fifth grade here. But here's why these designations are important. Because if you don't have these designations, you don't know where to invest. And then you also don't know what to expect. So this is about aligning your investment and then aligning your expectations. Because a lot of your frustration, a lot of our frustration comes from failed expectations. So how can the scriptures inform us in shaping the way I see I'm supposed to show up as a covenantal friend, and the way others should show up for me as a covenantal friend? See, I have to deal with this Wednesday night too, and then definitely next week when we start talking about dating. Christians, especially well-intended ones who try to live out the great commandment, like loving people well, they really have standard issues. A lot of them have standard issues. And their frustration is you got high expectations of people and low standards. See, and most people confuse standards with goals. Goals are what you aspire for. Standards are the least you allow. Goals are the ceiling. Standards are the floor. Your standards are not what you say it is. Your standards is what you tolerate. That's your standard. And many of us tolerate what Solomon called unjust scales. He says the Lord detests unjust scales. Not that reciprocity will look the same, but when there is no reciprocity and people are making withdrawals and no deposit in any form, call it what you want. It's an unjust scale. It's exploitation. It's a parasitic partnership. And that's not a friend, that's a mentee. That's a mentee. Because that's where I give and I don't expect anything back. That's a mentee. So what is the covenantal criteria that guides and governs the way I should show up and the standard I should have when it comes to what I expect from people who call me friends? The text gives us 6 things. Let me go through them real quick. The first thing is this. I should expect that they will carry an honor, somebody say honor, that is willing to say hard things. The whole farewell discourse is a hard saying. Why does Jesus say in John 14, let not your heart be troubled? Because their heart was troubled. It wasn't easy for them to hear he's leaving. But then in John 16, he says to them, it's for your advantage that I go away. It's better for you that I go away. Because if I don't go away, the comforter can't come. He's saying, so I'm willing to say hard things to you because I honor you. Honor means high regard, high respect. So friends see you even when you can't see yourself. Did you hear what I said? Part of your job as a friend is to remind people of who they are when life makes them forget. A friend needs to see when someone's not seeing themselves right. And you are always behaving in a way or regularly behave in a way that is consistent with the way you see yourself. And the friend can see when you're not seeing yourself right. And the friend love you enough to do some straightening and to say, now, I know you ain't letting him do you like that. You let me go over here. You better get yourself together. Now, I know I honor you. So when I see you behaving in a way that's inconsistent with who you really are, when I see you living low and playing small, come on now. Your future too great for you to mess up your reputation gossiping. You gotta, you want to be trusted. Come on. Here's what the Bible says. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. That word faithful means trustworthy. Are you here? It means that we've established some trust. So I know even if you're saying something that may hurt my feelings, it's because you're trying to save my future. Because you trust me. I trust you. And honor. I honor you. So I help you see you when you're not seeing you. But because I honor you, here's what a friend does. I'm going to say I'm honorable. I'm going to say a hard thing in an honorable way. Because keeping it real doesn't mean being reckless. I need somebody to high five somebody, tell them do better. I'm just keeping it real. No, you're irresponsible and you're not thoughtful enough to figure out the most prudent way to communicate that. Yes, you should have said what you said, but not that way and not at dinner. Do better. Let your conversation be seasoned with grace so that it may minister to the hearer. How you gonna say this to them in a condescending tone because they're being silly and you just came out of silly. You were just, let me go to this side. You just came out of silly last week acting like you don't know what silly feels like. You hadn't forgotten. We've all been silly. Well, I've been silly too. I mean, that's just silly. We're just two silly saints. Number two, they need to carry a heart that is willing to sacrifice. Watch the text. Greater love has no one than this, and they will lay down one's life for their friends. Your associates, your assignments, get your gifts. Your friends get you. Lay down your life. When you're a friend, I'll give you me. You can give your gift to people you don't even like. But you. Call me at 1 o'clock in the morning, you get me. When your mama pass away, you get me. When your daddy pass away, you get me. When you get laid off, you get me. When you go through the breakup, you get me. And some people want to touch you. They know how to do it. You don't have a heart. And when I say sacrifice, I'm not saying do something that puts them in harm's way. But I'm saying live with a kind of love that is willing to be inconvenienced for the benefit of somebody else. Number 3, they must have, y'all okay? Number 3, they need humility that can handle instruction. Look at verse 14. You are my friends if you do what I command. Jesus stewards power well. So this is not a statement communicating control. What he's talking about here is the importance of teaching people. If they can't be taught, they can't be trusted. I'm not saying your friends should be your teacher. I'm saying your friends should be able to teach you something. Because when God connects people together, somebody's rich or somebody's poor. Did you hear what I just said? So somebody's rich or somebody's poor. Somebody's rich in wisdom or somebody's poor in wisdom. And you should glean from that person who's rich in wisdom in an area where you're poor in wisdom. Are you here? I said, are you here? It means that somebody should have to be in authority over you for you to recognize when they're releasing wisdom for you. Number 4, they must carry heat-tested character that can be trusted. Notice it's in John 15:15 where Jesus says, I no longer call you servants. It's not John 1:15. Jesus didn't call them friends at the beginning of the story. He called them friends 15 chapters in, which means I've had 14 chapters to see if you are what I call you. And some people's problem is you start giving them the title in chapter 1. Then you find out they're not that in chapter 15. Now you're trying to figure out how to back out of a thing you should have never walked into in the first place. He had 14 chapters to see their character tested by heat. He'd been on ships with them in the middle of storms. He rebuked them. He offered hard sayings. He watched them handle misunderstandings, like John 6. Eat my flesh and drink my blood. He had the parts of the disciples left. Jesus looked at the 12. He said, "We confused them. I don't know what you mean by that, but you've earned enough of my trust to stay in the midst of confusion." See, this goes back to what I was talking about secondly, when there's underestimation and over-spiritualization. And this over-spiritualization is when you confuse, like I said, personal passion for God with relational discernment. So you start picking who should be friends based off of what you think you feel in your spirit. The issue with that is sometimes you hit and sometimes you miss. Because the heart's deceitful. Is that the book? Who can know it? And so what Jesus offers is very clear instruction when it comes to relational discernment, that what we should be using is not just, watch this, it's not just our feelings. What we should be looking for is fruit. This is what Jesus says. You know the truth by the fruit it bears. And so what we do is we see the fruit, but then we go with what we feel. Then our feelings get us in a position where our feelings hurt. And now when our feelings get upset with God, God's like, you're trying to blame it on me. I told you I got the truth. Just reveal character. Heat does. The heat of offense. The heat of confusion. The heat of misunderstanding. The heat of pressure. The heat of stress. And they won't be there. Unreliable. Flaky. What number am I on? Inconsistent. 5. Sometimes. 5. Honor for your responsibilities outside the friendship. Basically what Jesus is saying, let me summarize this scripture. This is important. Don't miss this video, it's important. Don't miss this. He's basically saying, I've been allowed to make stories. What I'm getting ready to do tomorrow is going to make you a redeemer to the world. So I am more than what I'm doing. For 3 years, it's been me. Now I'm stepping into another chapter of my story. So my responsibility is expanding. So now you got to show God by His grace, provide for His people in a way that He will make sure it's quiet. Never with a relational deficit because my assignment to them leaders, let's walk some of you. In your own work, do I have anybody that's grateful for real friends? So I'm a rabbi to you, but I'm getting ready to be a redeemer to the world. And I need you to honor my responsibilities outside this friendship. I was born for you, but not just for you. So yes, when I was single, you text me at 9 and you say you want to go out at 10, I'm like, yes. But now that I'm married, I need you to honor my responsibilities outside the friendship. You don't text me back. I don't even know where my phone is. My kids got my phone. It got quiet there. Playtime, yo. It got quiet there. It got quiet there. Yes, I was born for you, but not only for you. I got a business now. I got more demand now. I know it's been this way for 3 years, but 3 days is about to change everything. It can shift quickly. It can be one way for 3 years, and in 3 days, my responsibility increases, my demand increases, and less time with you doesn't mean less affection for me. And if you are operating in friendship with a healthy soul, before you start critiquing what I'm not doing anymore, you would at least ask how are you. Instead of a critique, you bring a question. You don't call me as opposed to how are you doing? Stress, drowning, overwhelmed. Number 6, they must carry a head that can handle exposure to what others don't get. Look at verse 15. I no longer call you servants because a servant doesn't know his master's business. Instead, I call you friends because everything I learned from my father, I made known to you. He's saying you're going to be exposed to what others don't get exposed to. I'm about to share things with you that I don't share with everybody. You need to see things that other people don't get to see. He's actually going to leave this conversation. He's going to go to the garden and get single. And in that moment, we see the clearest display of his humanity. He is anxious. He is stressed. One gospel writer says he sweat like great drops of blood. Another says he sweat drops of blood. Whichever one it is, he's stressed. They are the ones who have a proximity. Thomas, this is why you don't get to go to God. Because what you get exposed to is evil, but if you come out and share that the wrong way, it's not helpful. Do they have the head that can handle what proximity is going to let them see? That's what they are to you, and that's what God is called to do. Now, how many people do you actually think You can be all six of these things. Which is why you must know the difference Wednesday night, tap in Wednesday night, between friends, associates, assignments, and then advisors. For some of you, right now, the wheels in your mind are turning. Some of you are just not getting the revelation. I got a lot of company. But not a lot of friends. Some of you, the Spirit is showing you. This is a covenant that I need to take as a calling. I've been there, but I gotta show it differently. Because this is a part of my calling. So whatever category you're in, God give you the wisdom and the courage to think through your next step. So what I want us to do, nobody walking, we should be out there, we should have to.
Y'all see my studs. Look.
I want you to just right now sit with the Holy Spirit and just see if there's something He wants to say to you regarding how you've been showing up as a friend, or how you've been allowing people to show up for you. I believe if you'll shift your standard, thank you, Holy Ghost, God will shift your circle. Just take a moment. Come on, right now. You need to learn to do this if you don't mind. Just engage the Father. You might not feel anything. But Lord, place a Father in my way. We are here. Well, hey, I hope that message rests you. If you're a person, watch this, who receives the word and it makes you full and more hungry at the same time, I invite you to be a part of your home spiritually hungry. If you're going to optimize spiritually, God is giving you a Sunday. And sometimes we're spiritually hungry. But you need not necessarily more emotionally reformed. Would you look by the same this is what on the screen now? Take it. And then all of a sudden, He weaves you out of sensory spirituality into authentic spirituality.
There's a line in your life, an invisible threshold, and everything you accept, everything you tolerate, everything you settle for exists beneath that line. That line is your standard, not what you hope for, not what you talk about, what you accept, what you consistently allow, what you repeatedly do, even when it's hard. If you've ever wondered why certain things keep repeating in your life, why you get close to success and then slide back, why some habits never seem to stick, why the same kind of people or circumstances seem to follow you, the answer is almost always this: your standards haven't changed. People say they want more, they say they want to change, but they don't raise their standards, and until they do, nothing shifts. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. You don't get what you dream of. You get what your standards demand. It's easy to have high hopes. It's easy to write down goals. It's It's easy to talk about big plans. But until your standards shift, until the way you operate at your core changes,
The ones that seem
those
like
goals,
bigger,
schedules,
than
results
other
stay
ones,
consistent, the
they're not
transformation
fully
stays
twisted. I
unreached.
guess you can like
You can see that. Two people go through the
I
same
don't want like
situation, face
some
the
of
same
them thicker,
obstacles,
but
start
I
with the
got.
same tools.
I know most of them
But
are
one
like
of them
10.
rises, the other doesn't. One of them
Where you
grows,
see them at the
the
top.
other repeats. One of them breaks through, the other gives up. What's the difference? The difference is standards. One
I wanted to
person
feel too many.
has
They're
trained
probably in the
themselves
back.
to
Those are the
expect,
ones I couldn't touch.
to do more, to demand
I
more
split a
from
lot of
themselves, not occasionally, but consistently. They hold themselves to a level that others only talk about. And because of that, they create different results. Not just once, but over and over again. Your standards are not set by what you say. They're revealed by what you do. When it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient, when no one is watching. That's when your true standard shows up. That's where change actually happens. And here's the good news. Standards are not fixed. They're not written in stone. They're not locked into your DNA. You can raise them. You can change them. You can decide right now that what you've accepted in the past is no longer
These two,
acceptable.
They do it together.
That who you've been is not who you're going to be. That what you've tolerated ends here. And once you make that decision, once you truly raise your standard and begin to live at that level, everything begins to shift. Your habits change. Your energy changes. Your relationships, your confidence, your results, everything starts to reflect
are they no good here though?
your new standard. Because you don't have to force transformation when your standard changes. The new results become automatic.
Content too.
You no longer have to fight for discipline. You are simply living at a level where the old excuses don't fit anymore. You're no longer trying to break your limits. You've moved the line entirely. You want a new life? Change what you demand from yourself. Change what you refuse to tolerate. Change what you consider normal. Because the moment your standard changes, your life begins to catch up. The standard you live by is the
Tried to get
first
some kid over here to get their braids done yesterday, but
And no matter how high or low
their
things
parents
go
temporarily
temporarily,
get complicated.
you will always return to that sound. You can have a breakthrough.
Can't deal with them
You can have a
after.
big win. But if your internal thermostat hasn't changed, if your standards haven't risen, you will sabotage your progress and return to your old norm. That's why people win the lottery and lose everything. That's why people get in shape and gain it back. That's why people build something powerful only to let it collapse. Because the outer result changed, but the inner standard didn't.
Yeah.
Their identity didn't grow with their achievement, so they slid right back into the level they were used to. You
Learn a
can't
lot back
outperform
there.
your standards for long.
Kind of like a lot.
You can rise above them temporarily with effort, with hype, with a burst of motivation, but eventually you will
I
drift
really
back
do this
down.
line up for me.
Not because you're not
But I
capable,
can't find it.
but because
Yours.
you're not wired to stay there. Your identity hasn't adapted to the new level. Your beliefs haven't caught up. Your standards haven't recalibrated. And this is the invisible trap that keeps people stuck. They improve just enough to taste more, but not enough to sustain. They raise their output, but not their strength. And so they crash. And when they crash, they doubt themselves. They tell themselves, maybe I'm not built for this. Maybe I don't have what it takes. But the truth is, they do have what it takes. They're just never locked in the new. To lock it in, you have to upgrade how you see it. You have to decide that the way you used to live is no longer acceptable. The way you used to operate the shortcuts, the inconsistency, the excuses. That's not who you are.
Hello, how are you?
You draw a line and you say, that version of me is gone. Not someday. No. And this is not just about goals. This is not about doing something impressive. This is about identity. Because when your standard changes, your actions change. When your identity shifts, your behavior follows. You don't have to force it. It becomes automatic. It becomes normal. Because now, you've raised the floor of your life, not just the ceiling. Think about that. Most people focus on raising the ceiling. They want to know, how high can I go? But they never ask the more important question. How low am I willing to sink? That's what determines your life. Not your peak, but your average. Not your potential, but your baseline. If your baseline is chaos, struggle, distraction, inconsistency, you can have moments of greatness, but they won't last. You'll always fall back to your baseline. You'll always collapse under the weight of what you built. Because you never raised your standard to support the life you were chasing. But when your standard is excellence, when your baseline is high performance, when your identity is built on the following, when your habits reflect consistency, you don't fall back. You don't lose progress. You don't need to rely on willpower. You simply live a different life. And people will ask you, how do you stay so consistent? How do you keep showing up? How do you get so much done? And the answer is simple. It's who I am, not what I try to do. Not what I force myself to become. But what I've decided to expect from myself every single day. So how do you change your standard? It starts with a moment of truth. A moment where you look at your life. Not with judgment, not with guilt, but with honesty. You look at your patterns. You look at your behavior. You look at what you've been tolerating and you ask, is this who I really want to be? Most people never ask that question. They stay in motion. They stay busy. They keep repeating the same patterns without stopping to reflect. And because of that, they never confront their current state. They never challenge it. They never upgrade it. But if you do, if you take a moment to ask that question honestly, you will feel. You'll feel the gap between who you are and who you could be. And that feeling, that discomfort, that's not something to avoid. That's your invitation. That's your call to rise. That's your inner voice saying, you are made for more. And the next step is decision. You make a new decision about who you are. You say, from this moment forward, I no longer tolerate inconsistency. I no longer accept mediocrity. I no longer live at the level of my past. I raise the bar. I raise the floor. I raise me. And once you decide to act, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now, because action is what makes the new standard real. Action is what rewires your identity. Action is what proves to your brain that something has changed. And here's the thing, your brain needs that proof. You can talk all day long about how serious you are, how committed you are, how this time is different. But until you take action that aligns with the new standard, your brain won't believe, and it will keep pulling you back to the old path. So you give it new evidence. You do something you would have avoided before. You follow through when the old version of you would have quit. You execute with clarity and purpose. Not because it's easy, but because you decided that's your new normal. And every time you do that, you reinforce the shift. You tell your nervous system, this is who we are. You tell your subconscious, this is what you do. And the more you do that, the more natural it becomes. The more effortless it feels. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Raising your standards is not a one-time decision. It is not something you do once and never revisit. It is something you recommit to every single day. Because life will test your new standard. It will test your resolve. It will throw distractions, temptations, and challenges to see if you really meant what you said. And this is why most people fail. They raise their standards. They get inspired. They get inspiration. But the first time life pushes back, they drop right back into old patterns. They let one bad day become a bad week. They let one slip up turn to a bad cycle. Not because they are weak, but because they didn't build a system around their standard. Because a new standard is only as strong as the structure that supports it. You cannot rely on motivation. You cannot rely on emotion. You need a system, a structure, habits, accountability, rituals that remind you of who you are and what you stand for. If you say you're done tolerating inconsistency, but you don't create a daily routine that supports consistency, your standard will break under pressure. If you say you're raising the bar on your health, but your kitchen is full of junk food and there's no space for exercise, so you really want to create an environment that reinforces your new standard. You remove the triggers that feed your old habits. You design your space, your calendar, your habits in a way that makes your new standard easy to live up to. And that includes the people you surround yourself with, because your standards will rise or fall to the level of your circle. You cannot expect to raise your life while staying surrounded or content with ordinary people who constantly complain, people who make excuses, people who normalize quit. You don't need people who challenge your value. You need people who challenge your standards. People who remind you of your potential. People who hold you accountable to your best self. People who don't let you settle for less than what you're capable of. And if you don't have that kind of circle, you become that person to yourself. You become your own coach, your own challenger, your own accountability. You set the tone for your environment. Because the moment you raise your standard, your circle will start to shift. Either the people around you will rise with you, or they will fall.
Give me about an hour.
And that's part of the process. Growth is not just about addition. It's about
What a brush
subtraction.
tank.
It's about letting go of the habits, the mindsets, and sometimes the relationships that no longer serve your new version. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. That's commitment. And as you build this new standard into your life, you'll face internal resistance. The voice in your head will try to pull you back. It will tell you, who do you think you are? It will say, you've never done this before. It will whisper, you're not ready. It's too late. You don't have what it takes. That voice is not truth. It's your old standard fighting for survival. Because every time you level up, your subconscious resists. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you comfortable. It wants to keep you familiar. But growth is not familiar. Growth is not comfortable. And safety has never produced greatness. So you train your mind to recognize
I like
it's
it.
truth, but a signal.
This is fun.
A signal that you're on the edge of a breakthrough. A signal that you are stretching beyond your previous limits. A signal that you're right where you want to be. And then you take action. Because that is how you silence that voice. Not by arguing, not by reasoning,
We just not
but by
open.
moving through it. By showing yourself that you are no longer governed by the fear of failure,
It's gonna be up to
the fear of judgment, the fear of discomfort. Every time you act in alignment with your new standard, you weaken that. You
I could have got my hair
rewire,
down by tonight
you
or
reinforce your new norm.
I know like
You give yourself evidence that you
how
are
long
no
I've
longer
been,
the
I
person
gotta
you
reach it.
used to be.
It's like I needed to hold, you know what I'm saying?
And as that evidence stacks up, your confidence grows. Not the kind of confidence that's loud and flashy, but the kind of quiet confidence that comes from knowing that you are who you say you are, from trusting yourself to follow through.
So what's it like you want?
Because real confidence doesn't come from words. It comes from action. It comes from
I
alignment.
don't think I'm busy.
It comes from knowing
I gotta check
that
what
your
time
behavior reflects your standard.
my
And
dad
that
got
kind of
this
confidence is
passport
unshakable.
appointment for me and my sister.
Because it's not dependent on results. It's not dependent on
That's
validation.
in 10:15
It's
a.m.
rooted in who you've
Yeah,
become.
I'll be able to, I can do it, I can do it tomorrow.
And that's the real reward of raising your standard. Yes,
Well,
your results will improve. Yes, your habits will get stronger. Yes, your life will start to shift. But the deepest reward is what happens inside you. The person you become when you stop settling. The person you become when you stop making excuses. The person you become when you decide that nothing less than your best is acceptable. Once you've raised your standards, built structure around them, and started reinforcing them through action, there's another layer that begins to reveal itself. And that layer is the resistance between where you are and where you want to be. Because raising your standard doesn't eliminate the gap. It eliminates it. It shows you how far you still have to go. And that truth
Did you
can
split
be
it? You
uncomfortable.
said make these one. You said split.
But that discomfort is a gift. It's clarity. It's showing you the space between your potential and your performance. The space between your talk and your walk. The space between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. That space is not a punishment. It's an invitation. And when you lean into that space, when you stop avoiding the truth, when you stop pretending, when you stop
Have you seen how you do that? I don't know how you do that.
something powerful happens. You begin to reclaim
I don't even know.
your power.
I'm doing this.
Because the moment
It's like the
you
best
stop
way to
lying to
do
yourself,
it.
you stop weakening yourself.
I don't think there's no better way to do it.
Most people don't fail because of
It's like a
circumstances.
palm roll with the
They
tone.
fail because of self-deception.
Keep it
They
tight.
tell themselves they're doing their best when they're not. They convince
Cause I don't
themselves
like my
they're
girls
committed
looking like my
when they're
dick.
not. They believe
That's why I do
things
it. I do it
outside
down.
of themselves.
And yours are good, so they got that cooking spot.
Like before the research you were saying?
Even like afterwards, that's how they start lining up. It's called good.
Brutally honest with themselves. Not to tear themselves down, but to build something real. Something solid, something that lasts. Because truth is the foundation of transformation. So you start calling
Yeah, that's why I
yourself
become you, cause I
not
didn't know
with judgment, but
if
with
they would be
ownership.
able to like take that
You
way
start
out.
noticing where you're slipping.
And they really
You
taking
catch
it out.
moments
It's
where
kind
your
of,
standard starts
it's
to
all this is doing
and
is
you
just
don't
turning your hair
rationalize. You don't
to
explain
move a certain way.
away. You hold the line.
So we're just turning it to
And in that process, you develop a trait that most people never develop. Self-respect. Because when you raise your standard and actually live by it, something shifts inside of you. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe in yourself, not because of external praise, but because you know deep down that you are in alignment with your highest self. And self-respect leads to power. Because when you respect yourself, you stop needing validation from others. You stop lowering your standard to make other people comfortable. You stop apologizing for wanting more, for doing more, for becoming more. And you realize something. You've been carrying power this entire time. It wasn't outside of you. It wasn't waiting to be found. It was waiting to be activated. And the key that unlocks it standards. What you demand from yourself. What you expect from yourself. What you refuse to tolerate from yourself. And when you start living at that level consistently, your world starts to reflect it. Your relationships change. Because people treat you how you treat yourself. And when you start honoring your word, following through and living with clarity, you attract people who do the same. You no longer tolerate one-sided relationships. You no longer accept disrespect. You no longer chase people who don't show up. Because your new standard creates a new filter. And anything that doesn't match that standard
It's like this side is shorter, man.
doesn't make it into.
It actually looks good. I'll probably just try to just touch the top of that.
I did, but see,
You stop spending time in places that drain you.
man, it's like,
You stop feeding your mind with
You
garbage.
see where it's a little
You
thicker?
start designing
On the
your
top?
can you bro?
not because
Just touch it, just touch
I
it.
told her already, she already,
Because
you
you
touched it, but it's still like,
that your environment will
you wanna not
match
fix it?
your evolution.
Real quick, please.
Your time becomes sacred. You no longer waste
I can touch my mustache
Oh,
up.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
You can leave the case on. It'll take like 3 seconds.
You begin to see your time not just as minutes on the clock, but as the fuel of your future. And once you see it that way, you protect it with everything you've got.
You keep on saying you don't want to go. Here,
They
sit
stop
right
being
here.
things you have to do and become things you get to do. Because now, you're not doing it to escape pain or impress others. You're doing it because that's who you are now. The person who shows up, the person who follows through, the person who leads themselves. And here's the most powerful part. When you start living with higher standards, you begin to influence others without even trying. People watch you, they notice, they feel your energy, and without preaching, without force, needing recognition, you begin to raise the standard in every room you walk into. You become a leader, not because you have a title, but because your life speaks for itself. Your consistency, your clarity, your conviction, they say more than words ever could. And people either rise with you or they move out of the way. But that leadership, it starts with separation. Because no one will follow someone who cannot lead themselves. And that leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about falling, getting up. It's about owning your growth and refusing to make excuses. So when things get hard and you get up, you don't collapse. You don't lower your standard to match your circumstances. You raise your effort to match your standard. You rise, you adapt, you persist. Not because it's easy, but because it's something that there's no water on the table. When you live with high standards, life doesn't get easier. It gets clearer.
What you
You start
want
to see what you were blind to before. You start noticing what you used to tolerate. You become aware of how much time you used to waste. How many excuses you used to make. How often you gave away your power for comfort, convenience, or approval. And then your house is sharp. At first it can sting. Because now you're seeing all the ways you held yourself back. You're seeing your own patterns with brutal honesty. Not because you want to beat yourself up, but because truth always precedes growth. And if you want to go to the next level, you have to be willing to confront what's real. Not the story you've told yourself, not the filtered version, but the truth. Where have I been cutting corners? Where have I been lying to myself? Where have I been choosing ease over excellence? Because if you don't confront it, you can't correct it. You can't change what you won't own.
Okay.
And most people are stuck, not because they don't take
Check
it,
out. Zach, can
but
you get a
because
phone?
they keep running from the truth. They think avoidance will protect them, but avoidance is the very thing keeping them stuck. Your standard is forged in the fire of those hard conversations with yourself. In the quiet moments when no one's watching, when there's no applause, no reward. Just you and your decisions. Just you and the standard you've chosen to live. And the people who live at the highest level, they do not negotiate with their sin. They do not need an audience to show up. They do not need praise to stay disciplined. Their reward is internal. It's the pride that comes from knowing they're doing the work, whether anyone sees it or not. And that kind of pride, that kind of quiet self-respect is priceless. It doesn't fade. It doesn't depend on anyone else. It stays with you. It grows inside of you. And over time, it becomes your strength. It becomes your fuel. But it only comes when you raise the bar and refuse to lower it. When you stop adjusting your standard to your mood. When you stop measuring your commitment by how you feel and start measuring it by what you say you do. Because every time you follow through, you reinforce that step. Every time you keep your word, you send a message to yourself, we're not going back. Every time you do what needs to be done, especially when you don't want to, you anchor the new identity. And over time, that identity becomes automatic. What used to feel hard becomes natural. What used to be a struggle becomes a habit. What used to require effort becomes effortless. Because repetition creates identity. Repetition makes it real. But repetition requires patience. And this is where most people fall short. They expect immediate results. They want change to be fast. And when it's not, they assume it's not working. They think something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. Change is happening. It's just happening internally before it shows up externally. And if you can trust that process, if you can keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep honoring the standard, even when the results are invisible, you will get to a point where the results are invisible. You will get to a place where people start asking, what change is showing up? But I really don't even feel like a transformation. Because to you it will just be right. It will be who you are. You won't feel like you're trying. You'll just be living at a higher level. Because you make it one change at a time. One decision at a time. One step at a time. And here's the truth. Most people already know what they need to do. They don't need more information. They don't need a perfect plan. They don't need someone to hold their hand. What they need is a higher standard. Because once your standard rises, you'll find a way. You'll become resourceful. You'll get creative. You'll stay up late. You'll get up early. You'll remove distractions. You'll stop wasting time. You'll figure things out, not because it's easy, but because your new standard won't let you accept anything less. That's the power of raising your standard. It activates your potential. It forces you to evolve. It brings out qualities you didn't know you had. And it does something even more powerful. It eliminates options. When your standard is excellence, quitting is no longer a mistake. When your standard is growth, staying stuck is no longer an option. When your standard is integrity, excuses lose their power. And that kind of clarity changes everything. Because now you're no longer making decisions based on how you feel. You're making decisions based on who you are. And when your decisions are aligned with your identity, your new elevated identity, you become unstoppable. You've always had the power to change your life. It was never about what you loved. It was never about waiting for the right move, or getting the perfect conditions, or finding someone to give you permission. It was like deciding, once and for all, that the standards you've lived by up until now are no longer acceptable.
You know what?
Everything you want begins with that decision. That moment of clarity when you draw a line and say, this is where it changes. This is where it from this day forward. Because no change lasts unless it's supported by a new standard. No breakthrough sustains itself without a new baseline. No transformation becomes permanent until your identity, your discipline, your behavior, your expectations are all aligned. And you don't get there through willpower alone. You get there by raising the bar, by showing up, by refusing to return to the level that looks like by elevating the floor, not just the ceiling. You are promised.
Hey, good
The
morning.
standard is low. You have moments of greatness.
Yeah, you know.
The moment life throws pressure, the moment fatigue hits, the moment motivation fails, you'll fall back to your default. That's what most people call failure, but it's not failure, it's a return to standard. So change the standard, raise the level, redefine what's normal, build a structure, anchor your actions to it, surround yourself with people who match it, speak to yourself in alignment, and do not waver, especially when it's hard. Because that's when your new identity is being tested. That's when your new life is taking shape. Not when things are easy, but when your environment pushes against your new standard and you push back harder. The rewards for living this way are not just external. Yes, your results will change. Yes, people will notice. Yes, opportunities will come. But the real reward is who you become. Someone who doesn't shrink. Someone who doesn't settle. Someone who follows through, not for the world, but for yourself.
Can you
That kind of self-respect cannot be bought. That kind of self-trust cannot be faked. It is earned one action at a time, one decision at a time, one moment where you choose to rise instead of retreat. So from this day forward, check yourself. Not once, not occasionally, but every day. Ask, does this decision match my standard? Does this behavior reflect who I am becoming? Am I honoring what I said I do? Or am I slipping back into comfort? And when you find yourself slipping and will, you correct it. You don't quit. You don't spiral. You don't shame yourself. You reset. You reinforce the line. You remind yourself that this is a new life. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about refusing to negotiate with your old self. It's about raising your standards so high that the only version of you that survives is the one who leads, executes, delivers, and dominates. Because when that version of you becomes your normal, everything in your life changes to reflect it. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your influence, your peace. It all rises to meet the new you.
Trade competition. So when I see somebody else who does something, instead of me seeing them as a threat, I see them as a potential black part. So this YouTube channel that has subscribers, that's like, okay, would you like to come to the and podcast on today?
That is all it takes to completely change your life. Not years, not a life, just 6 months of focused effort, intense discipline, and unwavering commitment. Most people never realize how quickly they can turn everything around because they are stuck in a mindset that transformation takes forever. But it doesn't. 6 months of doing the right things, 6 months of moving with purpose, 6 months of executing at the highest level, and you will look back and barely recognize yourself. Most people waste 6 months without even realizing it. They drift from one thing to another. They let distractions steal their time. They start things and never finish them. And because of that, nothing changes. But the people who understand how momentum works. The people who know how to focus, the people who commit fully, those are the ones who experience breakthroughs that seem impossible to everyone else. Imagine if you decided right now that the next 6 months would be different, that for the first time in your life, you would lock in completely, that you would eliminate every distraction, every excuse, every weakness that has held you back, that you would wake up every single day with a plan, execute that plan with precision, and refuse to slow down, no matter what. If you did that, if you truly committed to that level of intensity, where would you be 6 months from today? How much stronger, how much sharper, how much closer to the life you want? Most people never ask themselves this question. They tell themselves they will change someday. They say they will get serious when the time is right. But the truth is, someday is not a real day on the calendar. And the right time never comes. There's only now. And the people who succeed, the people who rise to the top, the people who separate themselves from the crowd, those are the ones who understand that every moment they waste is a moment they will never go back. So here's the decision you need to make. Are you ready to take full control? Are you ready to stop waiting? Are you ready to give yourself 6 months of relentless execution? 6 months of becoming the most disciplined, focused, and unstoppable version of yourself? Because if you are about to experience a level of progress most people will never see in their lifetime. And once you see what you are capable of, you will never want to go back. This is not about motivation. This is not about feeling inspired for a few days and then falling off track. This is about a system, a structured, step-by-step plan that, if followed correctly, will guarantee success. A plan that will force you to grow, to evolve, to push past every limitation you thought you had. A plan that will transform your habits, your mindset, your discipline, and your results. So if you are ready, if you are serious, if you are willing to do what is necessary, then the next 6 months will be the most powerful, productive, and transformative months of your life. And once you start, once you commit, once you see the power of consistent execution, there will be no stopping. The first step in this 6-month plan is to take full responsibility for where you are right now. No more blaming circumstances. No more pointing fingers. No more waiting for things to change. If you are not,
Nah, he ain't done. You seen the group chat.
want to be, there's only one reason. Your decisions have led you here. And if you want to change where you are 6 months from now, you need to start making better decisions today.
I'll put it back together.
Most people never take full ownership of their life. They blame their past, their environment, their upbringing, the people around them. They convince themselves that they are stuck because of external forces. But winners do not think like that. Winners understand that no matter what has happened in the past, they are in control of what happens next. They do not waste energy complaining about things they cannot change. They put all their focus into what they can control. And that is what you need to do. From this moment forward, you must adopt the mindset that everything is your responsibility. Your results, your progress, your habits, your mindset, your success. If something is not working in your life, it is your job to fix it. If you are not where you want to be, it is your job to do something about it. No more excuses. No more waiting. No more wasting time. The next thing you need to do is get crystal clear on your goals. Most people fail because they do not have a clear target. They say they want success, but they cannot define what success looks like. They say they want to improve, but they have no idea what that actually means. If you do not have a precise, measurable goal, you will never make So ask yourself, where do I want to be 6 months from now? What do you want to accomplish? What skills do you want to develop? What habits do you want to build? What areas of your life need to improve? And be specific. If you want to get in shape, what does that mean? Losing a certain amount of weight? Gaining muscle? Running a faster mile? If you want financial success, what does that look like? Earning a specific amount of money? Saving a certain percentage? Building a business? Vague goals create vague results. You need a target that is so clear, so precise, that there is no confusion about what you are doing. Once you have your goals, you need a plan. Because setting goals is not enough. Anyone can say they want something. The difference between winners and everyone else is that winners create a roadmap.
Well, they wouldn't
They
have
do
been looking
not
as long as
just
buying
set
resources.
goals. They break them
They wouldn't have been looking
down.
as long as buying resources.
If your goal is to get in the best shape of your life in 6 months, what does that require on a daily basis? What does your training plan look like? What does your nutrition need to be? How many hours of sleep? If your goal is financial success, what are the exact steps you need to take? Do you need to increase your income? Cut unnecessary expenses? Build a new skill? Start a business? You need to get specific about what needs to be done every single day to move you closer to your goal. And then you need to execute relentlessly. Because this is where most people fail. They set goals, they make a plan, but then they do not follow through. They let distractions get in. They let emotions dictate their actions. They let inconsistency ruin their progress. But that will not be you. For the next 6 months, you will show up every single day and execute your plan with discipline. And this is the key. You must stop negotiating with yourself. Most people fail because they give themselves options. They wake up and ask themselves, do I feel like doing this today? And the moment you ask yourself that question, you have already lost. Because your mind will always choose comfort over effort. It will always take the easier route. It will always look for an excuse to avoid doing the hard work. But winners do not negotiate with themselves. They do not wake up and ask if they should work out. They just do it. They do not wonder if they should follow their plan. They execute their plan, no matter what. They have made a decision in advance that their actions are non-negotiable. And because of that, they succeed. And this is the mindset you must develop. Your success over the next 6 months depends on your ability to take action, even when you do not feel it. Your discipline must be stronger than your emotions. Your commitment must be stronger than your excuses. Your focus must be stronger than your distractions. Because if you can do that, if you can build the habit of executing without hesitation, you will achieve more in 6 months than most people do in years. And that is the power of this plan. It is not about motivation. It is not about hype. It is about systematically changing your life through consistent discipline. It is about making decisions that force you to grow. It is about pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone every single day. So that 6 months from now, you are not just a little bag. You are unrecognizable from the person you are today. So this is your challenge. No more hesitation. No more consistency. No more waiting for the perfect moment. From this point forward, you are all in. Every single day. Without fail. Because if you commit to this level of intensity, nothing can stop. The first step in this 6-month success plan is to establish complete control over your time and priorities. Without this, nothing else will work. You can set all the goals you want. You can make all the plans in the world, but if you do not control your future, someone else will. Your days will go eaten up by distractions. Your energy will be drained by things that do not matter. And before you know it, 6 months will pass, and you will still be in the same place. That is why the first commitment you must make is this. Every single moment is serve your mission. Most people let their time slip away. They wake up and immediately react to the world. And before they even start their day, their mind is already scattered. This is why they stay stuck. They live. They don't have a system, they don't have a structure, and because of that, they never make real progress. But you are not going to live that way. From this moment forward, you will take control of your schedule. You will wake up with a plan, and you will execute that plan without hesitation. You will not let distractions dictate your day. You will not waste time on things that do not serve your mission. You will treat every single hour like it is the most valuable resource you have, because it is. And that means setting boundaries. That means eliminating wasted time. That means refusing to engage in anything that pulls you away from your vision. Because here is the truth. Every single thing we do is either moving you closer to your goals or pulling you further away. There is no neutral. There is no, I'll do it later. There is no, just 5 more minutes. There is only forward or backward. And if you are serious about transforming your life in 6 months, you must move forward every single day. This is where most people fail. They start strong, but they do not protect their time. They allow themselves to be pulled in too many directions. They give in to distractions. They waste hours doing things that do not matter. And because of that, they lose momentum. They lose focus. They fall back into their old ways. But that will not be you. You will create a schedule that forces you to succeed. You will wake up at the same time every day. You will structure your morning to maximize your energy. You will dedicate blocks of time to deep work, to training.
You got good livers? What is that? How
Most importantly, you will stick to your schedule no matter what. Because once you start negotiating with yourself, once you start making exceptions, once you start skipping things,
We go talk to him real quick. I'm like, do you want to do it or not? Well, he said he's gonna get an appointment. We're not trying to sit down now.
this is about working smart. This is about eliminating
Brief intermission, brief
and
intermission.
focusing on what actually moves the needle. Most people are busy, but they are not productive. They think that they are doing things they do not know. They trick themselves.
Saturday too.
They will stay in motion.
Yes, you can do it here online. www.thebarberexperience.com. You can look on the point.
Every action you take will be intentional. Every effort you make will be measured. Every single thing you do will serve a purpose. And if it does not serve your mission, you will come back to life. And this is where your biggest breakthrough will happen, when you realize how much of your time is actually being wasted. Because when you start tracking your days, when you start measuring how you are really spending your time, you will see the truth. You have far more time than you think. You are just not using it correctly. And once you fix this, once you remove every distraction, once you create a system that keeps you locked in, everything changes. Your productivity goes through the roof. Your progress speeds up. Your results multiply. What used to take you months to accomplish starts happening in weeks. This is how you create massive success in just 6 months. By taking control of your time with absolute discipline. By removing everything that is not serving you. By eliminating wasted effort and replacing it with relentless execution. So from this moment forward, there are no more wasted efforts. There are no more distractions. There are no more excuses. Every single second you have is that every single decision you make matters. And if you commit to this, if you protect your time
I hate stopping.
with the same intensity that winners do, 6 months from
Pretty sure you hate stopping.
now, you will not even relax.
I'm not on this crazy time schedule.
The next step is to master.
I just needed to get to the shop.
Because time
Not too late, so I can go home. I don't got too many
and
appointments today. All
this
my
is what
appointments
most
are like
people fail. They set goals,
4, 5,
they make
6.
plans, they create schedules, but they do not have the discipline to follow through. They rely on motivation. They wait until they feel like doing the work, and that is why they stay stuck. If you want to change your life in 6 months, you must eliminate this weakness. You must stop letting feelings dictate your actions. You must become the kind of person who executes no matter what. Because here's the truth. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. Not talent, not luck, not intelligence, just pure, relentless discipline. The ability to show up every day and do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not.
I'm gonna have to
And this is
figure
where your
out
real
how to do
transformation
that with the clients.
Because once you train yourself to act without hesitation, once you eliminate the habit of
Johnny,
once you remove the need for
Johnny,
motivation, you
real quick.
become unstoppable.
When I'm gonna
Most people never get here because they never push past the resistance. They let discomfort stop them. They let small obstacles break their momentum. They quit when things get hard. But winners, they thrive in discomfort. They do not run from struggle. They embrace it. They understand that pain, fatigue, doubt. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is execution.
She said something about him doing a deposit,
And that is the
but he did no call, no call,
no more excuses,
no call,
no more negotiations, no more waiting for the perfect conditions. From now on, your actions will not be based on how you feel. Your actions will be based on what needs to be done. This means waking up when you say you will, without being snooze. This means training your body even when you feel tired.
He ain't
This
talking
means
about
working on your goals.
He ain't talking to nobody but just me, I don't think.
This means eliminating the phrase, I
Yeah.
don't feel like anything can happen. Because here's the
Consultation for both of them. I mean,
actions.
they gonna both need a deposit and probably.
What kind of hash you got?
Most people let their
Is she
emotions
still here?
control.
Yeah.
They wait for motivation. And when it is not there, they do nothing. They get caught up in their moods, their distractions, their momentary struggles. But winners understand something deep. Emotion creates emotion. You do not wait to feel good before you take action. You take action, and then the feeling follows. And this is why the first 30 days of this plan will be the hardest. Because your mind will resist. Your old habits will fight back. You will want to quit. You will want to slow down. You will hear every excuse in your head trying to pull you away from what you need to do. But this is the moment that separates the successful from the ones who fail. What do you do when you feel like quitting? That is the real test. And the answer is simple. You keep going, no matter how you feel, no matter how tired you are, no matter how much your mind tells you to stop. Because every time you push through resistance, you get stronger. Every time you do what you said you would do, you build trust in yourself. Every time you show up, when it would have been easier to quit, you create momentum. It cannot be stopped. And that is why the next 6 months will be different than anything you have ever done before. Because this time, there will be no breaks. This time, you will not slow down. This time, you will not make excuses. This time, you will train yourself to execute like a machine. And here is the secret. Once you master discipline, you will never need motivation again. You will not need someone to push you. You will not need external pressure. You will not need to feel like it. Because action will be automatic. Most people never reach this level. They stay stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping. They work hard for a few days, then take a break. They push for a little while, then slow down. They get excited about success, but they never develop the habits that create it. And because of that, they live in a constant loop of frustration, always trying, but never achieving. But that will not be you, because the moment you stop relying on motivation, the moment you eliminate the need to feel ready, the moment you turn discipline into a habit, you will win every single time. So here's your challenge for the next 6 months. Remove emotion from your execution. No more debate. No more waiting. No more stopping when it gets hard. If something needs to be done, you do it. If you make a commitment to yourself, you follow through. If you set a goal, you execute until it is achieved, no matter what. This is the mindset of champions. This is the difference between the people who succeed and the people who stay stuck. It is not about luck. It is not about talent. It is about being the kind of person who does not stop, who does not quit, who does not slow down. And if you build this level of discipline, if you commit to this level of execution, if you refuse to let anything stop you, 6 months from now, you will not even recognize yourself. Now that you have eliminated distractions and built unshakable discipline, the next phase of this 6-month plan is to raise your standards in every area of your life. Because discipline alone is not enough. You can be consistent, you can show up every day, but if you are operating at the wrong level, you will never reach your true potential. The goal is not just to work hard, it is to work at the highest level possible. Most people stay stuck because they set their standards too low. They tell themselves they are doing enough, but they are really just doing what is comfortable. They put in effort, but not the kind of effort that actually transforms them. They get stuck in a pattern of just getting by instead of demanding the best from themselves. And that is why they never break through, because what you tolerate becomes your reality. If you tolerate excuses, you will live in excuses. If you tolerate mediocrity, you will stay average. If you tolerate half effort, you will never see full results. But if you raise your standards, if you demand excellence from yourself in everything you do, every time you increase.
You can do 5:30.
This is the mindset of the elite. They do not settle. They do not cut corners. They do not allow themselves to move at the same speed as everyone else. They operate above the standard. They train harder. They execute better. They expect more from themselves than anyone else ever will. Because of that, they rise to the top, while everyone else stays the same. And that is exactly what you must do for the next 6 months. You must raise your standards in your work, in your discipline, in your habits, in your mindset, in your physical and mental toughness. You must hold yourself to a level of excellence that forces you to grow. This means no more doing it alone. Just if you commit to something, you go all in. If you set a goal, you give everything you have to achieve it. If you wake up, you attack the day like your life depends on it, because it does. This means training harder than you've ever done before. Not just showing up, but pushing yourself past your limits. Not just doing the work, but demanding more of yourself every single day. If you used to study all school, you go to work. If you used to work for
On his birthday?
you work for 9 minutes. If you used to set
on his
secret goals,
No,
you
you
start
will
setting
see.
massive goals.
Stevie, my daughter. Her birthday.
Because here's the truth.
That's what
Growth only happens on your
So
own.
she goes to school on her
If
birthday?
you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing.
I hate that.
If you are not being challenged, You are not complete. If you are not strong,
We not gonna do her birthday, like party or whatever.
comfort
I
is the enemy.
don't know, cause her and somebody birthday like 3 days apart. They were just
You must chase
We do.
discomfort. You must seek out challenges. You must force
You get their
yourself
birthday together for the most part.
every single day.
mostly, but then they age different. So
Most people do not do this. They want struggle. They look for the easy path. They want to change what they
That's
should
all.
not.
Oh yeah,
That is where
that is
I
great. Yeah,
wish
they
for
were the same. On the same
because
time.
true transformation requires pain.
I'm probably still working.
It requires sacrifice. It requires pushing yourself past the point where most
There ain't too
people
much to do on birthdays nowadays.
and that is
Say happy birthday, get a little present, get some family around. There ain't no point in lying. Make sure they have a good time, that's all that matters.
That's why you do it. You know where you want to
If
go.
something is not right, you fix it immediately. This is how you treat
All they gotta do is make sure they feel appreciated.
Cake.
ensure every single move you make is moving forward. And this is where most people fail. They set a high standard for a little while, but then they let it slip. They make progress, but then they slow down. They think they
How much
can
is
do
about
enough,
doing a girl?
so they relax. And before they know it, they are back.
Long last. I'm sorry, girl. Don't worry.
You will keep raising your standards every single day. You will not just maintain your progress.
And then the first two that you start up here, kind of
You
want
will
to
not
like,
just
not in the
say
front,
what you have done.
you can kind of do them.
You will demand
You know what I'm
more.
saying?
You will never let yourself
Yeah, kind of towards the front. Kind of want the first two like
This
kind
means you
of
must
on my
constantly
forehead,
evaluate yourself.
not out in the
You must
middle, like
hold
I'm saying.
yourself accountable.
Eyebrow
You
length
must
area,
ask yourself every day,
and then the rest
did I
of
give
it.
my absolute best today?
How many?
Did I push myself further than I did yesterday? Did I get myself to the best way possible? And if the answer is no, then you fix
That might be the only style I'm gonna be spending.
There's no room for that. There's no room for hesitation.
Maybe 2 strands will
There's
fit.
no room for slowing down.
I heard it on fast for sure.
Future. And for the next 6 weeks,
Touching you.
you will operate at a level most people will never reach.
I miss my dress so much. I'm just sitting here like
Because
this.
once you raise
I
your
got a long
standards,
old dress just to bring it back.
I think I just married
you will never, you will never accept, you will never accept anything.
I just like the fact that I got more now.
That's the only thing I
This
want to
point,
do.
you've taken control of your time, mastered discipline, and raised your standards.
You can do it yourself, but it's too much work.
I want to get perfect. I can't see my
Because
hair.
success is not just about
I might just gotta go to,
it's not just about
you
grinding.
don't think, Shannon can get it down
It's
there?
about building your mind so
Nah,
strong
that's what Clear was telling me. She
that it
was
does not give into doubt, does not surrender to fear, and does not get shaken by
I just want a little part. It's like my first 2 locks are huge. I'm not gonna stick with it. And I hate it. I can't wear it.
They let fear,
I used to have one,
they let small
I would have a whole bunch of dreads, one to the side, and my old one, I would have one that just go in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I need all of them.
they never stop to see real success.
Always doing styles and stuff.
But you will not fall into that trap.
I literally got a whole like kind of side part, middle part I mean, but I had one now that get the braid down the middle, and I was like, oh.
Stronger than your fears.
Thank you.
Stronger than any obstacle.
God bless you.
You will develop the kind of mental toughness that allows you to keep moving forward no matter what. And this is where the real test begins. Because over the next 6 months, you will face challenges. You will have moments where doubt creeps in. You will have days where everything in you wants to slow down. But those are the moments that separate the winners from everyone else. What do you do when things get heavy? The weak mind breaks. It looks for an escape. It starts making excuses. It starts blaming circumstances. But the strong mind, it keeps moving forward. It does not break. It does not complain. It does not waste time feeling sorry for itself. It simply keeps going. And this is the mindset you must adopt. Nothing can stop you. Not pain, not fear, not struggle, not failure, nothing. Most people are controlled by their thoughts. They allow negativity to take over. They feed their fears. They focus on problems instead of solutions. But from this moment forward, you will control your mind. You will be intentional about what you allow into your head. You will remove negative thoughts the second they appear. You will refuse to give power to fear, doubt, or hesitation. This means being ruthless with your self-talk. No more saying, I hope I succeed. No more thinking, I'll try my best. From now on, you will only speak and think in absolutes.
You know he is my nerves. I'm about to tell him, I'm about to give him your number.
I will execute.
He get on my nerves too. That's all she probably can't get me in a minute.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Your mind controls your reality. If you believe you will succeed, you will. If you believe you will unstoppable,
Oh, where you been at?
if you believe that no matter what happens, you will keep going, then
It was
nothing in
probably
this
to the side
world
out of nowhere.
can stop you.
But
But if you allow even a little bit of
he used to
if
pop
you
up.
let fear take up space in your head, if you hesitate for even a second,
Man, dude.
that is all it takes for weakness to be. And once weakness enters your mind,
That dude used to want to come to my house. He'll book an appointment
and that is why you must protect
just to
your
come to my
mindset,
house for his
like your life
mustache
depends on
only.
it, because it does.
And I'll be like, bro, how
This
far
means
is the
that
guy
you
to come get a touch up on your
If
mustache? You
something
need to
does not
go
serve
buy
your
some
growth,
cheap liners
it
and
does not
touch your
belong to your
mustache.
money. If people
But I have to tell
around
them,
you are
like,
negative, if they doubt you,
You can't
if
just
they
do
try to
mustache.
bring you back to their level,
You
you
waste my
remove them
time.
from your life.
And he'll be sitting there, he'll be taking that one over line.
If it is keeping you from operating,
This supposed to take 3 seconds, bro. And you gone.
change it immediately.
He'll be sitting there like,
I'm gonna start with Randall.
yeah. No more
Every day
mustache.
you are either winning or losing the battle inside of your life. You're either feeding strength or feeding
Yeah, he'll be
weakness.
tripping on that.
You're either reinforcing the belief
I don't want to charge you just for the mustache, bro. I just want you to come
or
get it straight.
allowing doubt to slow you down. And this is the secret that most people never
I
understand.
want you to
Your life is a reflection. If your mind is weak, your
be
results
doing
will.
too much.
If your mind is strong,
I think that's just personality, though. I don't like to think you know what you're doing.
so for the next 6 months, you will train your mind with the same intensity that you train your body, your skills, and your discipline. You will strengthen every single
That
day.
might have also came
You will
from,
eliminate
I don't know what
weakness from your
field
thinking.
he was in the
You
army.
will allow distractions, negativity, control.
And he already looked like he was like,
And here's how you do it.
not a special kid, you know what I'm saying? But just not like the rest of them. So that plus going to the army, you're not
You
like
do things that scare you,
a regular
that make you uncomfortable,
kid,
that
I
force
guess.
you to grow. Because the only way to build a strong mind is through resistance. Most people avoid struggle. They
Yeah,
look
he
for
seems
things
like he'll
that
do good on somebody.
they try to escape discomfort. But that is why they stay weak. Because strength
Like,
Real
yeah, he's not the type of dude like
is
they
built by pushing
we
through
put him to a
things.
task to get it right.
And that is what you must do for the next 6 months.
But
You must seek out the things that make you uncomfortable. You must chase
he got a nice car,
You must
a
put
nice
yourself in
house.
situations that test your limits. Because the more you do this,
I know he got a good job. I asked him what he do this for, and he said, I don't like to disclose that information.
nothing
That's what he
can
told me. And I'm like, bro, you know what I do? I'm like,
So ask
what can I do
yourself,
to you?
are you ready to control your
So I
mind?
just let it go. I was just
Are
like,
you ready to remove fear? Are
I'm
you
gonna
ready
know
to
you making
eliminate
money.
doubt and hesitation forever? Because
Take
once
care of
you make
yourself.
that decision, once you fully commit to this level of mental strength, you will never go back to your old way of thinking. Now that you have built discipline, raised your standards, and developed an unshakable mindset,
I saw that on touch of
the
face when he
final
came here with
piece
the
of
mother
the
that
successful
I knew she was too.
is execution. Because all the discipline in the world means nothing without.
Yeah, I was wondering. I said, you gotta come in.
The right habits, all the right thoughts, all the right strategies are useless if you do not execute consistently at the
That's
highest
what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, you don't.
without hesitation.
He does. That's what I'm saying. That's why I be like, I don't think he's doing it on purpose.
Full potential because they overthink.
But I'm like, bro, you don't see me sitting here. You like, get my.
They wait for the perfect moment. They tell themselves they need more time, more preparation, more information. And because of that, they say that they plan, but they never move. They think, but they never do. And eventually, they look back and realize they have wasted years waiting for conditions to be perfect, when all along, success was waiting for them to take action. But you will not make that mistake, because from this moment forward, you will become a machine of execution. You will not hesitate. You will not wait. You will not let fear or doubt slow you down. If something needs to be done, you will do it immediately. And this is the biggest shift that will separate you from the majority. Because most people talk about what they are going to do. They dream about success. They tell themselves that one day they will finally take action. But winners, they do not talk. They do not dream. They execute. Every single day. No excuses. No hesitation. No waiting. This is how you make massive progress in 6 months. Not by moving when you feel ready. Not by waiting until conditions are perfect. But by taking action right now. Even if you do not have all the answers. Even if you are not 100% prepared. Even if fear is screaming in your head. Because here's the truth. Action builds fear. Action builds confidence. Action creates momentum. Most people think they need to feel confident before they take action. Confidence does not come from thinking. It comes from doing. The more you act, the more you push yourself, the more you step into the unknown, the stronger you become. And before you know it, the things that once scared you, the things that once made you hesitate, the things that once felt impossible become easy. So from now on, you will operate with urgency. No more procrastination. No more delays. No more, I'll do it later. If something needs to be done, you do it immediately. If there's an opportunity, you take it without hesitation. If a challenge arises, you face it head on. This means you will move faster than everyone else. You will work hard. You will push further. And because of that, you will separate yourself from the crowd. While others are still thinking, still debating, still making excuses, you will be creating success. And this is the secret that high performers understand. Speed matters. The faster you move, the more opportunities you create. The more momentum you build, the easier success becomes. Because once you are in motion, once you are locked in, once you have momentum on your side,
You gonna walk in somewhere?
most people never experience this because they never move fast enough to build real momentum. They stop and start. They take action, then hesitate. They make a little progress, then slow down. But winners, they do not stop. They do not take risks. They do not slow down once they start seeing results. They keep accelerating.
I would say get on bushy.
6 months. You must become ready.
I would get on bushy.
You must execute at a speed and intensity that most people can't.
Because they bushy automatically, as soon as you set up your portfolio, get a couple reviews in, they automatically start pushing out your account.
Because this
To get people in.
success happens fast.
I always get random people off bushy all the
It
time.
is not some secret formula. It is just massive, relentless.
At least one move per year, yeah.
It is making sure that not a single moment is wasted. It is pushing forward no matter what. It is refusing to slow down, refusing to take your foot off the gas, refusing to settle for anything less than maximum. And once you do this, you will realize something. You are capable of far more than you ever thought. The limits you thought you had, they were never real. The doubts in your head, they were just illusions. The things you once feared, they were only obstacles because you hesitated. But now you are moving. Now you are executing. Now you are proving to yourself that nothing can stop you. And this is where transformation happens. Because once you start operating at this level, once you make execution your default setting, you will never go back to the way you used to. You will never again be the person who hesitates, who second guesses, who lets fear or laziness slow them down. You will have become a different person. Someone who is sharp, someone who is fast, someone who dominates in every area. So ask yourself, am I ready to execute like never before? Am I ready to move faster, work harder, push further than I ever have? Am I ready to eliminate hesitation, to remove fear, to take massive action every single day until success is inevitable? Because if the answer is yes, then the next 6 months will be the most powerful months of your life.